Hi! Welcome to another Scratch tutorial. Here we have a couple variable blocks that we can use. The first thing we're going to do is make a variable. So I'm going to call this J's press. I'm saying J's because that's the first letter of my name, so variables can really keep track of anything. As you can tell from the name, this one's going to track how many times the user presses the letter J. Variables in general should be named according to what they're supposed to keep track of, so that way it's a lot less confusing. So when we go to events, we're going to go when space is pressed and drop down to J. Bloop. And whenever J is pressed, you can change J's pressed by 1. And when flag is clicked, you can set J's pressed to 0 and show it. What this does is it keeps track of how many times you press J. And then it's like a little counter, which can be used in other ways, like video games and just smaller things inside the sprite. If you'll remember, we used a variable in Pong for the score, and we can do that with these variables. Something that's very based on variables is a collection game. I want to make this sci-fi themed. So I'm going to pull in a little space girl and a planet background, and the first thing we're going to do is set a promotion. So when left arrow is pressed and when right arrow is pressed, we're going to change X. When left is pressed, we want to change it by -10. And when the right arrow is pressed, we're going to change it by +10. She's a little bit slow, so I'm going to make this 20. Now she's much speedier. Now she's just zooming along. Okay, when right flag is clicked, we're going to just set her in the middle maybe, or just going to set her X to 0. And we're going to get something for her to collect. What are fun collectibles? She's going to collect these little falling stars. I feel like this one sort of blends in with the background, so I'm going to make this like a shining blue star. Now it blends in even more. Hang on. Sure. We'll have her collect a star. I'm going to pretend that doesn't look like a starfish. And remember about 2 videos ago we talked about pick random? Now we can really use pick random a lot easier with variables. So maybe you want to pick the star color randomly. Maybe you've also got a green star prepared. Oh wow, that really blends in. A purple star prepared. And a dark blue star prepared. You can pick random 1 to 3 and make a variable costume. And you can make costume a random number and then use your if-thens to decide what costume to be. The reason why you make this costume equals 1 and not pick random 1 to 3 equals 1 is because it won't always give you an output. It might just go, okay, pick random 1 to 3. If it's 1, then I'll switch it. Otherwise, I just will go on to else. And this is dangerous because if you go to more than 3, like 10, and if it keeps going 10 times, then none of them might go. It just checks whether this random number, which changes each time, is equal to the actual thing that you put, like 1, 2, 3. Probability is somewhat complicated, and I don't fully expect you to get probability at all. But just know that we want to use variables to make random things happen and not pick random on its own. So now, every time we press the flag, we'll have a random star. And you can see that it switches between them pretty evenly. Okay, and when flag is clicked, forever, we want the star to go to the very tippy top, which is about 200 as I remember, or maybe a little bit more. 200 is fine. And then we want the star to pick a random spot from -180 to 180. And what this does is it picks a random X spot, a spot from here to fall down. And it's just zooming along, picking random spots at the top. And then you want to start falling, so going down, changing Y, until you either touch the girl or touch the bottom. Now if we do touching edge, that's not good because it's already touching the top edge. So in the backdrops, you're just going to want to make a little bottom bar. I want to make it a little thematic so it blends in. Here we have a little dark green bar. It's very secret, and as soon as it touches the bottom, then we know it fell all the way, and then it'll just hide. So now we just have it falling over and over, and there she is, just eating up the little stars. And now we have a pretty solid collection game going on, but there's not enough stars, truly. So now we want to make a couple clones of this star. So when flag is clicked, after it decides what color it wants to be, we're going to have it repeat a few times. Say we want about 11 stars. Then we have this star and 10 clones. The way we're going to do that is create a clone of myself, not of Space Girl, which is an option, myself. And then here are a bunch of clones, but only one falling star. So how do we fix that? When I start as clone, we're going to have the same code that we wrote over here. So now we have a lot of falling stars. Woo! But maybe that's too many. Maybe we just want 5 stars. 6 stars, technically. That's still a lot. I just want 3 stars, to be honest. I'm okay with just 3. Now let's go back into our Space Girl and make another variable. We're going to call this stars. When flag is clicked, we want to show stars and also hide costume. And we're going to set stars to 0 and forever. If, we're used to this by now, you touch star, then you're going to make the star counter go up. Uh-oh. She's not counting the stars. I think it has something to do with what we wrote over here. That has to do with the hide. The star hides before Space Girl can touch it. So we're going to go back into this code, and for both the star is clone and the flag is clicked, it's going to keep falling until it touches the Space Girl or the bottom, and then it'll fall. And once it stops falling, either because it touches the girl or the bottom, it'll hide and start again. But the issue is, before it hides, we want to change the stars, but only when it's touching the Space Girl. So what are we going to do? We're going to go, if you're touching the Space Girl, you change stars by 1, because you're counting the star, and then you hide. So just before it blinks out and goes back to the top, it goes, am I stopping because I'm touching the Space Girl, or am I stopping because I touched the bottom? So if I'm touching the bottom, she missed me. But if I touch the girl, then she caught me, and I need to give her credit for the stars. And now here we are, nom-nomming all these stars. I got to 12 pretty quickly, so I think we'll win as soon as she gets to 15 stars. That seems reasonable. When flag's clicked, if, when flag is clicked, forever, if stars equals 15, then we're going to broadcast. Remember our broadcast and event? Going to broadcast, win. And when my little star receives win, you'll just hide. And there goes all the stars. Perfect, so this even works for the clone stars. Epic. And when we win, we're going to just celebrate. Which reminds me, we can 100% find a good loop to play while we're celebrating. This is a solid celebration song. We're just going to play Dance Magic and then stop everything. And while we're getting into sound, Star already has this collect. But in case you're doing something different, you can find collect in effects and then go right over to collect. And this will make a satisfying little ding every single time we get a star. So we're going into sound, start sound, collect. And this is going to go into the little if then where we change stars. This one down here. And also don't forget the clone. And I'm also making her say, you did it! Woo! As an extra little you win closure there. And we play it. Uh-oh. We forgot to change the backdrop. Okay. Now you can hear definitely all of the dings. Do we have Dance Magic in here? I think we stopped all before we could finish it. So we'll probably want to, instead of stopping everything, including the sound, we'll just stop all the other scripts in the sprite. Oops, it's not to change Y to 10. We wanted to set Y to negative 117. Sure, why not? We did it, y'all! This is just the happiest face I have seen, truly. And We are going to have to do something about the game because there's no way to lose. Sometimes it just takes a little longer, but it's not that exciting. Let's do something that you have to avoid while you're trying to collect the stars. A falling hedgehog? That seems mean. You know what I haven't done in a while? I haven't made a reference to something kids these days like. Maybe I'll make a little sprite of... Actually, I have no idea. I have been told kids these days like Fortnite, and I tried to make a Fortnite reference my very first video. But again, I know nothing. I've never played this game. It doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm just an old lady inside. But I do know that sometimes players can hide in bushes, and this is my best attempt of a bush with legs. Thank you. Truly an artist. And strangely, we can use the same exact code as we did for our star, except we're not going to change the stars by 1. Instead, we're going to broadcast lose, or game over. And when I receive game over, I'm gonna hide, and it's the same for the star. And honestly, I feel like pranking our player if you lose. If you lose... Well, first let's find some good lose music. It's supposed to sound mysterious, but it also sounds sad enough to be a lose music. Let's start the sound mystery and go into look effects. When we start, we want to set the size to 100, but what if we make it 1000%? Yes, bigger, 1500. I think it only goes as big as 1000. Let's just set her face right here. And she'll just be staring into the soul of the player who dared collect the bush with legs. I feel like that's too happy. Let me just... Yes, perfect. I'm gonna switch the backdrop to stars. She'll just stare at you. So here we are. This guy keeps falling, even though we're broadcasting game over. I think it's because of this. We wanna hide and then just stop this. Stop the sprite. Perfect. So now there's some risk. You've got to avoid the bush and no! And collect the stars. Let's see if I can win this. I cannot express how happy I am to have won this. I would like to thank the Academy. That was hard. So you can make this as hard or as easy as you want it to be. It can be anything. Going back to kids these days sort of thing. My brother plays a lot of Roblox. Instead of having a space girl, you can have a little Roblox character. Let's see if I remember what they look like. I'm not going to cheat with reference pictures. I'm just going to guess. Here's the truly derpiest looking Roblox character I have ever attempted to create, and you'll see that it works just as well. He moves. He grows dramatically. I based this off of my brother's Roblox character that I might have seen once or twice, and I am sorry to my little brother. I don't know what Roblox looks like. I've never played it, just like I've never played Fortnite. I know nothing. But, whatever keeps your attention. I'm sorry for not making fun references as often as I really should. We have our collection game, which is fun, and we have some randomizing. I realized it would really be more fun if it changed each time. Here I am, switching the inside of my forever loop. Basically what I'm doing is just dragging in the opening part of randomizing the costume. So now what should happen, let me just fix my poor little space girl. So now what should happen is my stars switch what color they are. They'll all start as the same color, but then each time they fall, they'll choose a different color. Oh, there's my little bush. And I receive one I also need to hide. There we go. So that's your collection game. Remember that you can make any background collectibles character you want. I just picked space, space girl, stars, and this random dude. If I wanted to stick with a space theme, I don't know what I'd do. Maybe I'd pick like a robot. Should I just for completion's sake? Doop doop. The easiest way to do this to totally change the look without having to recode it is just to make the new guy the first sprite's costume. So you just switch the costume instead of switching to a completely different sprite. That's just cheating right there. You don't want to give him extra space. It's also sort of big. Hard enough to avoid when he's small. Perfect. And that's variables and your collection game. We went over all the blocks last week with Pong. Just a quick review, you can make a variable. And I didn't go over this, but if you right click a variable, you can scroll down and delete the entire variable or rename it. And that's how I deleted J's pressed and my variable, which is there automatically. Set switches straight to a certain value. Change increases it or decreases it by a certain value. Show variable shows it up at the top. Hide the variable makes it go away from the top. And that is it. I've gone over all of the important blocks that you need to do absolutely anything in Scratch. And I hear some of you going, anything? What about flying? Almost anything. You can make a lot of stuff with all these blocks I've gone over. And next week we're going to wrap up the series with a final project. Woo! Spoiler alert, it's going to be a choose your own adventure, and I'll show you just how epic it can be. Awesome! Woo! Yay! So see you next week. I hope you enjoyed learning more about variables and how to make dropper games, like little collection games. Send any questions to seermodricoding@gmail.com.